Hey folks, it's Mark here from the Digital Nexus podcast, and I'm here with Chris. I've got some stuff from Bolt.new, which is a really great coding tool that is starting to rival what you can do with Claude, Vercel, and Cursor.
The big players out there, we've got Apple, Google, Microsoft, all have some huge updates across their various AI tools.
Looking at guardrails, mentioning that again as we kind of rant into what it is that the future of AI is going to look like in terms of workflows, and even a big idea that could be $1 trillion idea that you can take from us today.
Giving things away as we talk live. Check out the episode.
Woke up, tech talk, news flash, AI rolling in future in the dash. Digital dreams, cold and safe. We got the vision, never out of sync. AI, as it to the sky. Digital world, we reaching high, not centralized. Digital village.
Happy Friday. We're playing the counting game here. Yeah, that wasn't AI, that video that you showed me, was it?
The singing one? No, it's from 3 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
It's that old.
It's that old. It's pre-generative AI. It reminds me of, so it was like Muppets kind of style, but they're doing heavy metal. And instead of all the bodies hit the floor, it was I can only count to 4, which is great if your kids are into metal. I've seen other ones where it's like Warren G's Regulate, but done by Bert and Ernie. Where they haven't got like someone to do the puppet stuff. They've just taken scenes from Sesame Street and they've actually, because it's very easy to, yeah, that's really good. Anyway, welcome back to another Digital Nexus episode. This is episode number 12. I am Mark and this is Chris. What up, Chris?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Week number 12. I can't believe we're 12 episodes in. This is insane.
Yeah, it's week number 12 of doing this. We've probably been at it for a bit longer than that just because there were some gaps and stuff, but that's all fine. Trying to get you this weekly news and what's going on in the AI space. And
you've had quite the week as well.
Yeah, I have. I just came back from Perth, so I was there on Thursday. My days are mixed up. I'm just going to say any day that ends in day. So Monday and Tuesday I was in Perth, which is great. I was there for the AusDeFi Association running an event there, talking about blockchain crypto. It's an association that we started 2.5 years ago and was inspired actually by the Data Science and AI Association that I was running before that. And so it turns out in Australia, you can create associations, you can give it official sounding names and you get followers, which is great. But we're seriously all about like the education about how blockchain helps AI even. And we were there with AlphaNode Global and Healer Labs. And AlphaNode Global, so they're an investment manager. They traverse the markets and help their wholesale investors understand how they can do things within the blockchain kind of space. And then they brought over one of the groups that they do some work with, which is Healer Labs, that group started out in AI, actually. And they've been looking and working with the Singapore government about how can you use AI to protect things, protect data. If you've made and created like models, how can you use, in the AI space, how can you use blockchain to protect your IP? So really interesting stuff there. The replay just came out on the AusDeFi channel, which you help film for when we do meetups. But yeah, I was there. It was a whirlwind. It was like there Monday morning, like leaving early Monday morning in Sydney, getting back late night Tuesday because of the time zone difference, Crazy.
And how are you feeling after that?
Oh, good.
It's only 3 hours though. Is it 3 hours?
It's a 3-hour time zone difference.
Yeah.
Because Australia is quite big. If you didn't know it, you put it over a map, it's almost as big as the USA.
Yeah, essentially flying from California
to New York or something.
York,
or actually south to south. So
south.
LA to Miami, for example, if it's wide at the bottom. Anyway, so I did that. What else was I going to say? There was something else. But anyway, yeah, so that was fine. 4.5 hours over there, 4 hours back because of the tailwinds and stuff, but it's a 3-hour time zone difference. So you literally feel like you're in another country, but it was great.
I mean, culturally you don't, but yeah, definitely by traversing you do. It's quite the flight.
That was fun.
That's awesome fun. That's really good news for DeFi. I'm really happy that it's
still going over there.
Some good presence over in WA.
Very good community over there with Tracy and Sophie and Ronan and others, like really kind of leading the charge over there and helping out. And just a whole lot of like really interesting conversations with the people in the community. There was a whole lot of questions when you watch the video. The community really gets involved. They've got a lot of questions and stuff about the space, and there's a lot of new people coming in. So hopefully they won't get hit and flustered by, you know, the frustrations that we've had with the previous kind of, you know, cycles that we've gone through. They're getting into it as the market matures, but we see that with all kinds of markets, the internet, e-commerce, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, what about you? What have you been up to?
Man, I've been deep in this project. I've been talking about it now for a few weeks, where we've been on the tail end of a big research output, engaging with customers. I mentioned this last week, the tool Juno, and really being able to take advantage of that properly. I've talked about it a lot. I've used it dabbled in it a bit in the past, but this time we went full hedge into it. I'm really impressed with the output that it has brought up with. It's consolidating the insights it pulls from customers.
You're like double checking those and making sure that it you know, lines up and everything like that. Like you doing.
Well, I mean, yeah. So the surmising, yes, but in terms of how, so I mean, essentially what it is, you're, rather than having to talk with someone, right, you're sending out an almost like a chat tool to a particular customer archetype.
They can go back
and they will have a conversation in a chat almost, but it's actually an AI that is managing the chat.
That's really interesting. I can imagine. I don't know if they do this, but I'm just thinking ahead. But you'd want to be able to do that for surveys where, if English is not the first language or something, or they do have like a foreign language, or their level of understanding comes from like a different background.
Yeah.
How can it help get you the answers that you're after, or deliver information like health, for example?
Yeah.
Like that's massively important to be able to get the right information in the right words to the people that need it.
Exactly. So language doesn't become a barrier anymore for, for companies who may not have native speakers for the demographics that they're talking with.
Fantastic.
And then on top of that, you're able to quickly then pull out insights, use the quotes, and then on top of that, there's a reporting tool which then, grabs all the insights and gives you all the key themes utilizing its AI tools, and that's what you start to cross-check things. But like completely accurate on the most part that I saw. And then I use that and feeding that back into other AI tools to then generate sort of reports in the structure that I needed to like pop it out into personas and start building really big complex customer journey maps and blueprints and the like. So it's been a lot of fun.
Love it. Like, I mean, you touched on a point there. We are in an age where we still jump around in different apps because that's just how it is, and we need to and stuff. And obviously there is limited like screen real estate for folks, but we're seeing more and more of this consolidation, and we'll go through a bit of that today, where we're seeing apps that kind of bring different features together to kind of make it easier for you. I wonder when we'll get to an age where you can just go, here's the work I'm trying to do. You just type it in and the apps just get auto-generated in front of you because we're that good at AI that it's the task. It doesn't matter the app. There is just like the one, it's almost like a Star Trek universe where you just think of something, or you say something and the machine creates it, it 3D prints it. Like imagine like the proverbial 3D printing of the apps that you need, because your job is to get surveys. So it's going to create the proper survey apps, and then you're just going back and forth with it. Have I just given away $1 trillion idea? Probably. But I don't think we're too far away from that kind of stuff happening,
I mean, different for me. For me, the workflow so far has been, I'll do my own Google search, I find my own sources.
Sorry.
Yeah, what?
I'm not used
to that. Well, this is it, right? So that only takes me so far.
Oh, you mean the AI company?
And then straight away, I've jumped into Perplexity, and I've used mainly Perplexity for a lot of that research basis, because it can both give you the resources and the summaries in the one thing. So that became a lot of my desk research following. And then from there, I've got my research, which I pulled out of Juno, and then I've got another bunch of in-person interviews, which I've used Dovetail. I've pulled all the insights into that.
Dovetailed into that.
I pulled all the insights, and I have this big bucket of insights, and then I've used, and I actually ran a bit of a comparison this week between 4.0 and 0.1.
Yep.
And I was really impressed with the output that 0.1 was giving when it comes to sort of validating the research. It's much more, a little bit more structured, a little bit more. I guess it kind of explains things with a bit more detail. It tries to be a bit more creative with, I guess, like explaining themes and pulling out key insights and building those out. So I ended up mainly using 0.1 for the app. But the only downside of 0.1 is you can't upload files. So
not yet.
It's very much, and I'm sure that's coming. Those features are coming. So it's very much you're having to do big data dumps and into that tool in order to get things out you want, which is a bit frustrating. But
Not bad though. I think that you describing the workflows there. We have a lot of friends that are in other companies that are doing this sort of stuff and asking us questions like, "How would I do this?" And like I was giving advice yesterday to some friends that work with us. That work next door to us, and shout outs to Anna, Michelle, Taylor, etc. And the idea around like, here's this big task, how do we do it? Do we put like one big prompt in and we're not getting the results? It's like, we'll break it down.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the first thing. So finding the sources, validating the sources. Then the next thing, instead of just having one big multi-step set of instructions, which is great, right? And it could get you where you need to be for creative stuff. But when it comes to reports, like sounds like the stuff that you're doing, you can't rely on it to be able to get you hit every single step of instructions. So breaking it down, they're finding it easier to do it that way. But there are tools, and this is why we did stuff with Psych and why there's agentic behavior where you have agents, first agent doing something, second agent doing something, third agent, etc. So there are ways that you can, make life like easier and stuff. But it's interesting hearing about what you're describing there with workflows, seeing what others doing, because this is where the solutions that will eventually get created are going to come from. And we want to hear from people out there, right? Like, I think part of the future segment will probably be where we dive into how people are solving things as well. But anyway, that sounds like a busy week.
It was a busy week.
Still ongoing.
And then we took all that inside. We're building out designing nice personas, visual cards, usable assets for our customer to be able to do the things they want to do. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good, fun, intense, but fun week.
Speaking of intense, it's going to get like more intense in Sydney because like next week is South by Southwest Sydney.
Right.
I'm speaking at one of the events, which is on blockchain, and it's about how the original sin of the internet, like the trust that we're supposed to provide into it, and losing. We've just been commodified. Phones listen in all the time to stuff and give you ads. Your data is not yours anymore. So how can blockchain kind of bring that back? So I'll be talking about that, especially when it comes to AI, helping AI. Are you going to any South by Southwest events?
I'm not. I can't, unfortunately. I went to last year's. I'm not going to lie. It was disappointing. At the least, but I'm hoping this year might be a little bit better for everyone. I will be following along a lot of the activities that are going on, probably trying to get to some of the after events, but I'm deep in sprint mode next week. So.
Can I just say, like, I'm also disappointed as well. Last year, we tried to help out through some government initiatives that were pushing us into this, and we just didn't get to the right channels. We were being sold to buy booths and stuff, and great. I know you guys need that at South by Southwest, but this is an opportunity to actually showcase the ingenuity and the cleverness of the tech industry here in Australia, not just Sydney, but from around Australia. And we were going to design using blockchain tech and NFTs for good in this sense, where you get incentives. If you go to the start of an event, for example, you scan a QR code and you get some information. If you leave halfway through, you don't get to scan the QR code at the end, which would have given you greater benefit results, AI infused kind of like summaries, connections with the speakers, and much more benefits for staying at these events and rewards for going to the different events. Incentivization, which is the power of like blockchain tech, could have been useful there. This year, shout out to Annie at Build Club. Because it's frustrating going through the app, you type something in and if it doesn't find it, it doesn't give you anything there, even semantically related, because it's just using old tech. You have to find the exact name of the thing, the exact name. I couldn't even go on the web and type in my name. My name is listed on the actual kind of website, but I have to type in the name of the event to find it. So people that don't know the name of the event, they're not going to find me, right, as easily. Maybe the mobile app is a bit better, but thinking about like how you can improve stuff with AI, the Build Club used Claude and just for a few minutes built a better search of what's on, where you can actually
I'm
talk
not
to it.
surprised at all.
But here's the thing, it's like there is this massive opportunity out there, and you and I will probably like do something about this, where we can connect communities. We can actually bring the tech into, whether it's startup hubs, it's communities, it's events, it's conferences. Why are we not using the tech that's in front of us that we're talking about on stage, that we never freaking use it? It's so frustrating, man.
I mean, it's the other part that's frustrating is that this is an event that has been around for quite a while.
Yep.
Obviously over in Austin, Texas, in the US.
They've got London now too. So congratulations.
So expanding out even further. And it is like, it's incredibly successful. And they've got years and years and years of strategies and ways of, managing large volumes of people, events, conversations. And it's like they didn't talk with them at all to sort that stuff out. They were just sort of
Like, I
went,
know
okay,
there's-
cool, we'll take the brand, we'll take the concept, and
I know there's a
we'll
cost.
try and do it the Sydney way. It's like, no, come on.
There may be like a cost to doing it, but there's so many people that just want to provide this stuff out there for the benefit of the community, are willing to provide it for free to be able to showcase stuff. Anyway, do better.
Do better, that's right. Well, hopefully share a lot next week. Share a lot of TikTok updates after you see talks and stuff.
Yeah, I won't be able to go to all of the events. I'm going to try to go to as much as I can. Build Club is doing a hackathon. There's the tech kind of focused area that I'll be at. So
Yep.
I'm going to see as much as I can, and yeah, TikTok away. But yeah, really excited for that. But like with anything, we're not the type that will just rest on our laurels and just go, oh yeah, this is fine. Like the house is burning around us. This is fine.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we can do better, folks, and we will. So, be inspired.
Be inspired. I love it. Should we dive
the
into the week? It's been a week. Like,
It has been a week.
remember last week it was a little bit more around, the politics and business and investments.
Business,
now,
politics.
A lot of updates have come out this last
Where's my
last
investments?
couple of weeks. Kicking off on my side of things. So
I've got this one, which is one of the first links. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Can you?
no, it's a Halo.
Hello.
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 Halo though. Planet Halo. It
looks pretty cool.
It is this new.
What is it?
It's a video editor. There's a few things that have come out with video. I
man, look.
saw that you've touched on Meta, which I'm pretty excited to talk about. But Halo Video just released an update. It's essentially a text to video.
Is this Chris Pratt here?
This is, if you can see it up on screen, if I hope we're recording. And so what
I hope we're recording.
essentially what you're seeing here are like really complex video scenes. You can probably click on any one of these and we'll pop them up on the screen.
Oh man, we got to do the cats.
And it's just an incredibly detailed video generator. Everything from the shading, the lighting effects, and we've shown some ones before. And a lot of these really powerful tools coming out of China are just insane and really exciting to see.
Minimax was like a thing that we saw. Kling AI is like another major one. This looks like a new one to add to the long growing list. This is like the EV companies coming out of China, where there's just so many different variations.
Exactly.
This is great. Like we love a bit of competition.
And the cool thing about this is that a lot of the existing tools, they have kind of, it's very minimal text to video input. This one you can be highly descriptive with. So you can write really lengthy paragraphs around what it wants to generate, and it comes up with these tools. And
scary hybrid Animal Planet scrolling in the an animal plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in some other world, it's like not animals and plants. There's animal plants.
Animal plants.
Love it.
So you can edit the videos. You can make adjustments to it in the live space. If you go back, there's a really cool one where there's a kid playing a video game and a little augmented reality character pops up, and it almost looks like something out of like a Pixar movie.
This one here?
So it's really that one there.
Okay, let's click on that one. What the heck? Okay, AI movies are definitely coming soon. I've seen.
So this is it. This is it. The AI movie is. We're not too far away from being able to do these generated movie content, or that's either gonna, support what is happening in the industry already, or other. Apparently, you can even take like shots of your face, I think, and pop them into these scenes.
Wow.
And stuff like that, which I probably would.
We should try it out and stuff. And I'm happy for them to train on my face. My face is already out there. But I was just gonna ask. So given that we've got translation tools in real time, we've got like even just like the transcript, you can translate that and stuff, but we'll have, and we've got like HeyGen and other tools where you can have an avatar, but it's speaking in different languages and stuff. I can see, we've got the Golden Globes or like whatever the TV, movie awards are and stuff, like having more international flavors to these, because I would definitely watch content that, I'm not a fan of subtitles because I'm doing work a lot of the time with movies in the background. I want to be able to hear stuff. And oftentimes with foreign movies, sure, they got the dubbing, but sometimes it's not that good. But I'd love to just watch something or listen in on something in the background that is a TV series or a movie or something like that is from somewhere else, or even in the cinemas and actually having a really nice experience. Imagine this world of movies. It's like intergalactic or interdimensional cable out of like Rick and Morty, where you've got millions of different channels. We could have
It's
that
just
with
all
this.
AI generated channels. That's just
It's
creating
crazy.
content on the fly.
Good
I
find,
mean, you
man.
talked to that because I mean that's like on the topic of translation. Obviously,
Mm.
one of the meta updates from a couple weeks ago. You know, they had you could create your content, post it up, and an AI will or the AI will actually do the translation and actually mimic your mouth. Try to mimic your mouth in that format as well. So there are things like that
crazy.
that are coming that will allow us to extend how we view content that obviously traditionally has been too difficult to translate.
What's next for you?
Well, I was sticking on the topic of videos. You've highlighted it nicely here, but the Meta has announced the new video generator, calling it the world's best next video generator, which is Movie Gen. Just check this one out. So this is obviously
That's
tapping
pretty cool.
into a lot of social content to create and generate all of this. And I believe because it is using the Meta AI tools, it is also open source.
Yep.
So you have the ability to actually utilize this and create this
Look
content
at this. The
on your
feet.
computer. And apparently it's not too heavy as a system. If you don't have a really powerful computer, you can still, reap the benefits of this open source.
So given this photo, for example, of this person, they've created this video. So that is crazy.
Popping
So
your own avatar in there and generating videos, having you interact with the environment that is picking up.
that is crazy. I'm seeing it. I could see people using this on like dating apps and stuff, just having photos of them with, former presidents and stuff, and like as if they're there. Anyway, just be careful out there, folks.
So you can generate with text, you can edit it with text as well. So if you're happy with it, you
Oh,
can
look at this guy.
edit the content live and adjust things as it's playing. In
Yeah,
real
this
time.
is the impressive one that I've seen on videos where look at the lighting. Look at the, the
Yes,
back of the
the
person where the reflections of the lighting, it's quite realistic looking. Just amazing stuff. And even like the water effects here, like this koala riding a surfboard. I love that they've, paid an homage to Australia. So,
But it's not into that. It's a lot of the things that videos are currently not the best at is then the sound output. And this is where Meta, even though it's open source, has been able to do quite well. With
look how
the sound
realistic this
generation.
ghost looks as well. That's nuts.
So that was that's pretty interesting,
How is this a video? This does not look like it.
right?
This looks so real.
Like even just the ripple effects of the water.
I thought I could always tell.
Like you can look through a couple of them sometimes and see a few bugs or errors, but like on the most part, it is particularly that one. It's incredible.
It's going to
Absolutely
be
incredible.
really hard to like if you're doing a real video and there's like some sort of like glitch or whatever, people are going to see these like false positives that that's AI, for example.
Yes.
So I don't even look, by the time we've got all this tech in our glasses, it'll be like that movie Replicants with Bruce Willis where everyone just stays in their home and no one goes outside and stuff. It's your replicants.
Your
that
whole
are
life
actually-
is your replicant of
Yeah.
AI generated replication.
That's crazy. So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
we saw that. That was something. Oops, let's go back. We're going to jump to that later.
Similarly, I guess sticking with the last sort of a video thing that we've got coming out there is a Zoom kind of video-ish. They've just really
have they done?
showed an update where you can actually have your own avatar now.
Okay.
Doing pretty much being your video. So the Zoom
Wow.
will let AI avatars, talk to your team for you instead of you having to present your own head and face. Kind of remember the Apple's headset.
I can see parents like, look, I'm just gonna have kids. There's a Zoom call you need to jump on.
Yeah. So you can create your digital avatar. You can that can be the thing that hosts your videos. I guess you're still doing the talking. It's just that you don't have to have your video on. Looks like you're being more engaging. And that's coming out on Zoom very soon. I guess it's raised a lot of concerns around, I guess, trust and whether, this could be misused, especially for,
Yep.
if you're having conversations, it could,
Difficult conversations, firing people and stuff. You don't have to be the CEO.
no, exactly.
But here's the thing. I think it'll go more viral if you're firing people with your Zoom avatar, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
You become that company.
But a big thing is these things will become so good, you may not even tell that it's, that it's fake, even if it was an avatar. You can just say it is, or if it isn't.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of misinformation. It could be like people pretending to be other people, like you said, and not just for in business. Could be for children and other things. There's a real protection risk here.
Absolutely.
But it's unfortunate. There needs to be ways that they'll try and get around this with their account security and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
still pretty cool tool.
Security is important, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. What's next?
Hit me up. What have you got on here?
I got a few things.
Yeah.
Let me show you. Actually, let's jump to I've got little news here and there and stuff, but I'll go to something more interesting. So I want to show you.
Well, what I wasn't talking about wasn't interesting enough for you.
No, yeah, well, Freudian slip there, folks. I didn't mean it that way, but maybe inside I did. Here's the thing, like you'll be able to watch this video in future with, I reckon there'll be future video watching tools where, whether for Zoom, which would be scary, but definitely for like just watching things online where maybe it's with the glasses, like sentiment analysis and stuff. Like imagine watching a movie and you feel like a detective because the actor's like really good at like showing certain things that the other actors don't pick up, but you can tell that, oh, they're being conniving. Like you could have these things that you could watch like this video and you can see whether Mark really was genuine or not when he said that he was interested in what Chris said. Like we don't know. There's going to be stuff like that out there. But speaking
Thinking like augmented reality involvement as well. Imagine if you put the glasses on, you're there in the movie, and then the character's interacting with you, and you're just like, okay, I've got to do this thing.
Oh, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. I think that there's going to be some really interesting stuff out there. But one thing that I think is, and you mentioned it before when we were talking about the tools that you're using day to day, and we said that there'd be this like consolidation of bringing tools together. If you've heard of like ChatGPT's Canvas, where you can do more interesting code editing, a lot of conversational tools with AI you can already do using it for helping you out with code. But the typical workflow is that you go, here, I want to do this, or here's my code, it's got this bug. Suggest some fixes, you go back outside, you make those fixes, you try and try again, you iterate, and you can get to some really interesting places and get stuff done, but it is a lot of back and forth. And then you see things like Cursor. Very early on, GitHub Copilot, which was the original Copilot, was a tool which would help you suggest fixes and edits to your code, or it would say, okay, if you want to add comments in, here is like what the comments should be. So really helpful for developers. Then we saw Cursor, which you would need to install, where you could run things on your own machine, and it would have like the main screen for all your development of code, and then another screen where you could just chat about the things you want to do. Then we had Vercel, which is more for like websites where you could throw things, or Claude, you could throw things in there and go, I want to recreate this website. And it would go and try to create it for you with a panel opening up on the side. So you don't just have your chat, you have a panel, and then that panel, it would start to preview. It would do the code and it would preview. Here is something called Bolt, which does it in an interesting way. So I've got this prompt here for a made-up association called Future Made that'll be focusing on education and community and bringing together different pieces of technology and teaching society about it. And I said, make a profile page where you can fill in data about yourself, make a page for a forum, some events and stuff. And when I hit run on this, and this is live, so this will start coding away. It'll go, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. It's going to open up some sections where you'll actually see it not just doing one code at a time. So here is, if I open this up, what you can see here, folks, and you've got a preview thing there on the right. There's the code in the middle, but not only is it doing the code that it needs to run, usually you would just see this one by one, but in this web application that you can just go to online, you can see that it is building the different components that you would need. This is a typical React style page that it is building here with your components underneath, profile page, home page, you've got the app. It's all in TypeScript, which is a modern kind of language, and you can tell it like what you want it to do it in, and it will build it out. You'll see the preview there. Here is one I prepared earlier. So if I just close that down and just open this up, this is one with the same prompt where here is, some details of the page. Obviously, you can put images and stuff there. I can go to a profile section. This is not connected to anything yet, but you can help with get the AI to help connect it to SQL or PostgreSQL kind of like servers where you keep the information, or it might be on some other database. Here's a pretend forum with some pretend forum kind of things, and then an events page where you could connect it up to like Luma or Meetup, etc. And it doesn't just have to be that. I've even given it an image, and this is something where I've given an image of Google Finance, and I said, I want you to build something like this, and you can see this page here, a finance kind of dashboard. I can click on, here's the US overall kind of market performance, and it's got top performing stocks as well as some fake data about like what's going on in that market, some comparisons, but I can click on these fake stocks, for example, and I told it I want it to have a stock chart, which I'll connect to real data, but then also have recent news as a panel, as well as like the latest tweets. So if you can imagine it, you can build your own kind of data set. I mean, I used to do stuff with the ETF space, and I'd use Power BI to build it, but the limitations are that I can't just make that a mobile app or provide it so that it's just embedded really nicely in a page. It's a bit, you use iframes and it doesn't look as good when you do that. It doesn't scale as well. But with something like this, you could literally build off data sets that you can access and free to use information. But the key being that it gives you all the code. I can edit the code here in the code editor. You can see that it sets up the structure. I can deploy this, I think, onto Netlify, which is like one of the providers there. Or the other key thing with this is if you don't want to use something like where you have to put your code in online, you can actually download Bolt.News GitHub and run all of this on your own machine, and you connect to Anthropic, which is the APIs that it uses, but you could have your own private version where your data does I mean, you've got to trust Anthropic, obviously, but your data doesn't go to the vendors and stuff. It's a bit limited. It's a bit slower than what you've seen on screen before. That first one that I was writing here, see, it's just made it now. So it takes a little bit more, a little bit slower than Claude, a little bit slower than some of the others, but it's the first outing and it's free right now, and you can pay to get more tokens, but you can do some pretty cool stuff with the free one.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very, very cool being able to play with, having to play with that. And I think like the benefits that will have, and we've talked about this before, things like Claude, is that you can take the code, set up your own, set up your own separate entity, set your own platform without having to do any design. Or you can even take that code, plug it into other tools that then allow you to tinker with the design in a more meaningful way.
Yeah, like Figma.
It could be like Figma or any other myriad of tools, which I think is, it's adding more steps into your workflow, but it's being able to give people the tools who usually may not be coders, who may not be able to, afford to have a developer come in and set up all their websites and platforms. This is just like that extra step to give people the power that they need to be able to get their businesses up and running, get their platforms up and running.
Absolutely. And I think, the key is working out how those workflows can work best for you.
Exactly.
A great sentence. ChatGPT improved that one. But yeah, that's Bolt.New. There are some downsides to it. It doesn't get certain things right, but definitely watch some videos. There's some great tutorials online for how people are using it. But I think you should watch some of the videos that show some of the downsides as well, because you don't want to be the first one to come up with it after you've done like 90% of a project using it. Then you find out at the end that you can't do a really important thing, or at least find a workaround to it. So, key is to check out some videos. And if you don't have the time, play it at 1.5 or 2 times speed, which is what I do.
Yeah, very nice.
What else you got?
We talked about this many weeks ago around the big players coming to town with their AI. And over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of huge announcements across the board. Obviously, Google had a bunch of releases a couple of weeks ago. We've got Apple, one of the big ones. Apple has been there talking about AI, but hasn't yet pushed it out to their devices. So they've finally released a date, supposedly the 28th of October. Our Apple users are expecting to get the first little sprinkle of AI into their mobile devices.
Where's
going to be touching on? I didn't pull up the article for it, but writing tools, some of the image memory, which we've talked about previously. So we've been able to recall, kind of like using the Google Photo search tools, but having a more meaningful and powerful way with Apple. A lot more animations across the phone, all driven by this upcoming AI marketing that they've been pushing. So hopefully some validation for the early adopters of the most recent iPhone 16 devices. Ooh. And that's people have been wanting that now, wanting it to catch up with the AI conversation in the market, obviously with Android,
Apple Intelligence,
Samsung, and other devices are well ahead in that space right now. But Apple wants to do it right, as they usually do with a lot of their technology. So we're pretty excited to see that coming soon. Yeah. Microsoft had some pretty big updates this week as well across Windows and their search tools. People who have Copilot PCs would love a lot of this, and some people who have some other types of devices and the latest Windows update will also be able to benefit from this. But some really interesting recall features, which kind of like your internet history, but built within
interesting.
Windows in itself. Which I'm sure this is going to be a huge RAM or even just general memory hit to PCs. But essentially, it stores all of your activities and actions that you've been conducting throughout the day. And then I'm pretty sure it does a dump after that. But essentially allowing you to, if you lose, your computer shuts down or something happens in that period of time that you've set for this recall feature, you can jump back and open up all the tools and save the state that you were at with regard to that. So really cool recall features there. We've got Copilot voice, so being able to control your PC and with your voice, speaks for itself. Do some generating with images and other things like that as well. You got Copilot Daily, providing you constant updates at your request. Think Deeper, some new photo features. All the work. So Copilot had a really big update. That is pretty. There's some of the tools really exciting to see. Improved Windows search is another one. So finding files on your computer easier than before. Like details, even about to find things within pictures. So previously when you're doing the generic search within folders or in your files in your computer, it comes up with a big list of options. Now you can be actually descriptive about how you search for things. The new photos and paint experiences, they've shown off a lot of the AI generating tools, especially within their Canvas tool, which I always forget what it's called because I don't use this very much.
Canvas.
Is it Canvas? Speaking with photos, Microsoft Paint.
Oh, right. Sorry,
So
I'm
Microsoft
thinking
Paint.
OpenAI is Canvas.
No, so you can generate images from text and edit them on the fly now. And there's a new sort of updates around. You can shift the bar and show the different scales of the image that the AI generates based on your little sketch that you've created. So lots of really cool features coming out for Microsoft users. Similarly, Bing has also released a few updates expanding on their generative search experience. One of the companies that has sort of been ahead when it comes to integrating AI in its search. I know Gemini is coming to town with this a lot more as they're rolling that over the next couple of weeks. But obviously Bing has had some the AI search results in their tool for quite a while, but they've just released this update. Essentially, it is giving people the ability to search with more detail in regards to image and video, doing a lot of deep search within, within the World Wide Web.
Fantastic.
So good on them for releasing some of those updates, staying ahead of the game. Obviously, they've got a big advantage being partners with OpenAI, but
Definitely helps.
Definitely helps. Sticking with the big players, Google has released some new updates with their search tools. So their Lens, Google Lens, if you don't know about it, for our Android users out there, probably very familiar with it. There's a lot of integrations with our mobile devices already when it comes to searching for images. You can press and hold the search feature, pulls it up, circle the item, and it does a deep search. It is now opening that up to other details around video and text. So being able to be a lot more flexible with the things you can search now, which you couldn't do previously. So it's a pretty cool update for our heavy Lens users out there. Some other interesting and exciting news is something I think we touched on this previously because they did some minor announcements, but Nvidia has properly announced their new NVLM open source AI tool, which is now pretty much accessible to anyone who wants to do development work. So really cool seeing them touch on the open source world here. So it's called Open Frontier, their class multimodal LLM. Pretty competitive out there on the market. They're stouting that they're a little bit better than things like Meta when it comes to math and other types of things that people might be utilizing these LLM for. Looking down at their qualitative studies, you can see they've got some examples here where they're dropping in pictures and they're asking who's in this picture, is generating that response, and then providing details and descriptions about what it either sees in the image. They've done it with animals, or even asked them to explain the hilarity of certain images. You can see there, dropped in pictures around technology and asked them to explain what this device is in more detail. They've even put in some scribbles of someone coming up with a particular some code on it, like a little notepad, and it's actually generated that pseudocode quite accurately. So it's pretty cool as an open source tool. Really nice thing to have. We know NVIDIA has always been on the forefront of AI, and they've got the tech to be able to support this kind of stuff.
You would hope so.
So very nice that they're coming to the market with some things that pretty much anyone can access.
Love it. Love it. I mean, this is really cool stuff here. NVIDIA's done great things for the community as well.
Yeah.
Like supporting events that we've had at Data Science and AI Australia, 2 events there. And then also the Build Club had an event with NVIDIA as well. So yeah, really great to see, people coming along to these and what these guys are doing, like seeing more open source stuff, making it more widely available. So really great stuff there. What else you got?
Yeah, so Adobe's come to town as well. They've made a few updates on their tools over the last couple of weeks. Elements, which a lot of people may use, particularly if they're on their mobile devices, has made a few updates with their image generation, live editing, removing people from images.
Yeah, look at that. Remove the random strange guy in the background. Of my
Exactly. So a lot of this was
Gone.
originally mainly just for their larger, their software tools, which you might find on your PC or tablets, using the full-fledged versions of Photoshop or
nice.
Lightroom.
Yeah.
These are now coming to Elements, which is very nice.
That's
so
really cool.
be able to remove people on the fly with your mobile devices, generate.
Remove all the people from my life.
And
Great.
also, yeah, exactly right. And also within their video editing Elements tools as well. So very, very nice couple of updates there. Similarly, they TikTok Maker missed. Oh, God, I think this is back on the video topic. I should have had this previously before. ByteDance, have you heard of them?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
so
owners of
The owners of good old
TikTok-y.
TikTok are hitting the AI world with their new video generator.
Wow.
They're showing off some really very detailed video. I would say almost on par with the guys we touched on before, whose name I'm not going to try and say. Hello.
Hello. Look at that.
But you can see it. Pull up the example here.
I mean, it's
That was a very brief example,
Yeah.
but it is TikTok. They only do brief videos. Very, very cool. With their updates coming to town. I don't know if it's available for everyone yet. I haven't had a chance to look
Here's
or play
another.
with it, but it is. It's looking very, 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 very powerful and accurate.
I mean, the hands there kind of went a bit wonky. Oh, no, it's
Dark.
that wasn't-
Fell into the shadows. There's like
It fell into the, yeah.
just the detail.
Oh,
of the skin.
wow.
There's some dramatic tears there.
Tears.
That is dramatic.
An actress known for the thickest tears.
But you can see just the detail in the person's face, like their skin, the realism that is brought there. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like over powdered like some of the other AI tools do.
Wow.
Like even like the crisp of her lips, like showing the indentations. It's like
Look, it's an ad for Giorgio Armani or something. Gucci, Prada,
yeah.
something. Your next product. This is
The question I'd raise is where is it getting all the content to generate this from? So
Yeah.
but we'll let the powers that be decide decide what's happening there. But
it's all the TikToks
super
that we
powerful.
do as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. All our TikToks are probably being used to fit
check
that.
out our TikTok, Digital Nexus podcast and stuff. We're going to be doing more there. More
And-
shorts and interesting stuff.
And lastly, for me, because I love the
Hmm.
gaming world, I always want
Oh.
to talk gaming. This one is Play DreamWorld.
Okay, let's bring it up.
Very, very cool.
The asset
I think this
generation
tool's been
in
out for a while, this little
DreamWorld.
gaming feature, but essentially it's showing off a much richer experience when it comes text to video game
The
asset
process
generation.
is simple. Just build a dream forge, describe your vision, and generative AI brings it to life.
Wow.
You can fully manipulate
Wow.
every asset you create with DreamWorld's
This is
advanced
crazy.
building tools, like
Kids
copy
these days are
paste,
so lucky.
scaling,
Oh my god.
So we've seen like EA doing their stuff. We've seen the possibilities with things like Minecraft and Roblox. So this is just adding to that huge mix of potential when it comes to generating pretty much anything within the worlds that they've been provided with.
So when it comes to I'll just get this down. When it comes to like games like this, right? Something that I've seen it a little bit with The Sims, for example, and people that are on in building in that space and customizing. And my brother, like he and his friends, like we'll do some cool stuff there. What I find interesting is that you have this way to generate stuff there. I used to play a lot of like sports games, for example, right? And these sports games, I'm not playing it, but these sports games like NBA and FIFA and all that, you could see people doing some elements where it's a bit more controllable. Obviously, it doesn't look exactly like the sport. It's not highly realistic there, but it's much more realistic in terms of the simulation of the lifestyle, the the surrounding elements of that. I could see someone with something like this. Yeah, you're doing it for like something that's very much similar. I mean, climbing high up here is like very much Assassin's Creed, right? But doing something with like FIFA or like NBA where, you know, you have the players on the court, you can move them around, you can get them to act and run and jump in a certain way. Not super realistic, maybe not yet, but you could just describe it and you could create your own version of these simulation games that have always been the domain of the EA Sports, the 2Ks, the you know, various kind of big companies out there that you're beholden to, and you have to wait for them to do the updates and stuff like that. And I don't know how they price something like this, but imagine being able to create your own game. Like, go back to when you were a child, like, you know, be able to have that imagination and creativity. I think this is wonderful. There's always a double-edged sword to these things.
So true. Yeah.
Right? All tech can always be used nefariously and stuff, but hopefully they put the necessary protections and all that kind of stuff to get this working. This is really cool stuff.
Nice.
Next.
What have you got?
I've got a few things. So speaking of, I was showing you OpenAI, and this is something from your list, but with Canvas, so ChatGPT's Canvas, I think is a good one to showcase because
I think we talked a little about this last week. We got really into this. I mean, it's pretty cool. So
yeah, I mean, you know, you can see on screen here that you can upload a document, and you got this middle section with the chat on the left-hand side. We've seen that starting to come out more for like various apps where, you know, we spoke about this on a previous show where it's like Google search used to be something where you would do your Google search and then you find all the sources. You have to find the answers from that. You have to drive and click on things, and that's fine. You can still do that. But with Perplexity, you would search for something and it would give you the summary of the information. So it's done the steps to look at the various websites and it's got the summary, and what you have on the side panel is the sources, so you can go back and validate. Similar to here, the chat is not the important piece. The important piece that sits in the middle is the result, the outcome. In this case, a report on design notes, or the previous stuff I showed you, which was the code editor that you would then have, and you could flick to the preview. That's the important part with the chat on the side, where the left-hand side, right-hand side, various ways that you can do that. But just taking it further, I just imagine that there's just the one seeing, all-knowing kind of sets of apps where, whether it's for games like you saw there before, or it's for business kind of workflows, you just describe what's the task that you're trying to do, and then, you know, it just is created there for you in the middle. Like, the tool doesn't need to be an existing tool. It never existed before, but it knows how all these tools work, and it will just create it for you. And if you want to run it on your own, the cool thing in the future, I reckon, is going to be that you can have sovereignty and ownership of something like this, because you don't have to, like, cool, there'll be a marketplace and someone will build like really cool apps, then you go, okay, I want to use that. Or they've got a template that you can use and you can subscribe to that. But if you just want to use your own imagination, you can do this. And I don't, like I said again, I need
a video editor to be able to edit this video to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Boom, here you go. Here is a version
Mamma
of...
Mia, here you go.
Here's
Like,
DaVinci Resolve. Here's DaVinci Resolve.
Literally DaVinci. That's how he sounded. Mamma
Exactly.
Mia.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Shout out to all my Italian friends out there. But, you know, the thing is, I think it'll start off with some of the basic stuff first for reporting and things like that. But it'll get to, and even reporting is like complicated as well. Like just going into, you know, we're building out a market intelligence tool with Psych, and it's not that easy just trying to figure out what are the different elements you need to grab. And even when you're searching for within a certain element, there's a lot of nuance to stuff. Information isn't just all available publicly. For example, there's proprietary information that is behind, you know, firewalls and stuff like that. But it is interesting seeing the possibilities of making workflows easier. And we just imagine, like, before 2022, the end of 2022, when ChatGPT came out, the workflows that we used to do, there's so much less that you can get done. Knowledge workers, right? And now you can do things far more quicker. But we need to make sure that there are guardrails, and it could be soft guardrails in the sense that this is just the standard that the company has, that if you're signing off on something, like if you're doing something and using the AI, Chris, it doesn't matter. You just need to have a sign-off stamp that you're saying that you read over it, for example, before it goes out to clients or anything important. And being able to record that onto blockchain, for example, with what we're doing and what we've answered in the AI guardrail submission, there's also a submission that's due next week, which is about healthcare and how the healthcare industry can safely use AI. I think having these like guardrails, and some of them will be mandatory and necessary around like deep fakes and stuff like that, laws and regulations around that. I think it's important because we're really quickly changing the way that we interact with each other in businesses.
It's like something I've noticed with the updates that have been coming out over the last couple of weeks is also this greater focus on experience, the user experience for people going into these platforms. So the utilization of things like Canvas, Bolt, which you talked about before, much more focused on improving the user's workflow rather than just having this plain sort of chat tool that you just have to type in some query and it punches out a big block of text. And that evolution from, hey guys, here's this powerful tool that does all this stuff, to now going, all right, how does this actually integrate with the things that we're doing? We're starting to see that shift now into improving workflows, improving that experience and integration with, people's lives, work, etc., which is great.
We've gone from the conversational style applications to something where I termed it more workflows, like you just mentioned there. A great thinker in the space as well, and doer as well, Vincent Koch, who I've had interviewed. He's got some great insights. When O1 came out, for example, he had some great articles on Medium, and he's done a lot of design thinking in this space as well. Check out his Medium. But what I was going to say was thinking about how workflows work. He was talking about consumerization. We're entering this age of consumerization, which is like, how do you actually effectively use these tools? And speaking of that kind of stuff, I described to you that scenario before where I've got friends that are using ChatGPT, and it's just easy for them. They're uploading their reports and stuff into there, getting insights, and actually, instead of like one big prompt, breaking it down into different sections. But as they're doing their report, and you mentioned you're doing, reporting for, I forget which tool you're using, if it was Juno or the other one.
All of them.
All of them, right? So when you're getting those reports, having a way to consolidate and bring that information together and have it broken up into different building blocks. The frustration that we had when we were building Psych was that we didn't have those building blocks. So a way that you can use Psych is literally that. So on screen here, I've got different building blocks for this AI safety thing in for Department of Health and Aged Care, where I've got different sections. This is like the background that they've got here. Here is the actual consultation paper that I've literally just copied and pasted in just the text. Psych's got its viewpoints, but the cool thing is that I can choose which building blocks I want to actually work with. So I don't want any of these ones at the end, for example, so I can just literally turn those things off. I've got the views. I just want to ask about the consultation paper, for example. So I can just turn off those things there and just say, give me a summary of the consultation paper. And it will just look at the building blocks that you've got there. So if you're doing reporting, doing analysis, doing anything where it needs to be broken up into these building blocks that you can summarize and piece back together, or to write chapters on, being able to break it down, something that Psych is helping out with. And it's free to subscribe right now, folks. So you can definitely check this out. You can go in there and just do, analysis on different sections, or you can even go into one of these sections and just use the AI to actually just give a summary of something that you're doing here. So, I can say, give me a summary of this in dot points, for example. So this is just a long string of text that just shows Psych's, the view that we had on the space, and here is a shorter summary. So using AI in various ways to help you out, I think, is like really key, a message to get out there for people. But something I think that we could do in future and stuff as well for these episodes is more showcasing, like we showed with this and with Bolt, like how you can do things with AI, but even just discussions around some of the workflow pains that we might be seeing, or that we're helping to solve for clients. Because I think what's being asked there from people is just how do we keep up with everything that's going on? There's so many news channels and stuff like that. That's great. And yes, we cover those things because it's important, but showing more about what you can do. So stay tuned for that, because, we'll do some interesting stuff there.
Love it.
Cool. That's pretty much it from me. I don't know about you, Chris, but I think
that's good.
That's a pretty great episode. Folks, if you've got any questions, you got things you want to cover, you want us to take a look at stuff. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, and all that. We're out on TikTok. We've got stuff that we put out on Twitter, and YouTube Shorts and all that kind of stuff as well. There will be a Patreon that we'll be putting out there. So if folks want to support what we're doing and you want to see more interesting things, there'll be something specially there for subscribers. So, working on that. And yeah, just keep an eye out, folks. And if you've got ideas, hit us up.
Shout out to our sponsors like obviously Psych, shout out to Digital Village, shout out to Stone and Chalk who are hosting us here, and yeah.
Shout outs to everyone.
Everyone
gets a you get a shout out.
You get a shout out.
You get a shout out.
Our subscribers get a shout out. People who like our videos, shout out.
All right, shout out to yourself. And if you're doing it on the train, just make sure there's no one else in the carriage. Anyway, all right,
Thanks,
see you
guys.
later, folks. Thanks, bye.
Circuit board buzzing, worldwide. Tech trends blazing, digital fire. AI, rising to the sky. Digital world, we reaching high.